Okay, so I kind of forgot to cover Excalibur number 103 in our last video, but technically for me personally, it didn't go with those two issues because those two issues were really more of like, hey, where was Excalibur thing popping off when it came to Onslaught in New York? Well, they were chilling on Muir Island because Moira Taggart told them to. And so for this issue alone, it didn't really feel like it went with those two issues. So at the same time, it could be its own video. Now, there is another reason why I'm kind of happy I did make this its own personal video. You see, this was also Warren Ellis' last Excalibur issue he worked on. Now, after this book right here, he did give us a mini-series involving Kitty Pryde and Pete Wisdom. And don't worry, we're going to sit down and cover that very soon on the channel. But my point is that when it came to this issue right here, it was Warren Ellis leaving the book, but also the X-Men going into a new era where basically they're now the main teams of the Marvel universe. There are no Avengers. There are no Fantastic Four. And the reason why, because they're all in the Heroes Reborn universe. But with that being said, this issue right here really does kind of help Warren Ellis set up his miniseries he did right after this one, like I said, involving Kitty Pryde and Pete Wisdom. And speaking of Kitty Pryde, when we do jump over to her, is Kitty right now waking up at her usual time? Here's the problem though, because when you have Kitty Pryde go over to her window to see Muir Island, she does not see Muir Island. Instead, what she sees is all these buildings that belongs to some kind of small village. And so now it kind of seems like she has been transported over to this small village. The question is how? How in the world did she get here? And did she come here alone? And so while you have Kitty Pryde begin to look around the building, that is when she walks into this other room. And when she does, she finds Colossus, but not her Colossus. It kind of seems like right now she's in some kind of different reality where Colossus looks older. And of course, he's freaked out because in this reality, it seems like at first his Kitty Pryde is officially dead. And so for him to see Kitty Pryde right now, he's also very confused. Now, once you do have Kitty Pryde go back to her room, that is when she's confronted by Nightcrawler. Now, this is her Nightcrawler, but you do have both characters try to confirm they're both in the same reality. Now, Nightcrawler tells her like, hey, listen, I had to make sure because I saw another version of you who was trying to, kill me. And so now the question is, where is Kitty Pryde and Nightcrawler currently at? And is Colossus there as well? And really, that is the big question, because when you do have Nightcrawler and Kitty Pryde look out the window, all they see is different versions of themselves, most likely from different realities. And so for Nightcrawler and Kitty Pryde, seeing themselves, but also seeing different versions of Colossus, that tells them for sure Colossus, their Colossus, must be there somewhere as well. The question is now, where is their Colossus? And that is when their Colossus arrives just out of nowhere, crashing right in front of them, fighting against another version of himself. Now, you do have Kitty Pryde and Nightcrawler being able to stop him and confirm like, hey, listen, we are your Kitty Pryde and Nightcrawler. Like, us three are from the same reality. But now the question is now, how in the world did they get here with all these different versions of themselves? And the question is now also, how can they get the heck out of here to go back home? And so for Kitty Pryde, she begins to say that they have to use logic as a way to figure out how to escape from this area, but to also use logic to figure out how in the world they were brought here or who brought them here. Now, you did have our heroes realize they should go ahead and ask all their different counterparts from different realities of why they haven't tried to escape yet. Like, some of them been here for a good while. Why haven't they tried to leave? And so once you have Kitty Pryde begin to ask them all these different questions, literally they all kind of said the same thing. They arrived here, but except leaving, they decide to go ahead and adapt because they couldn't find a way out of here. Now, for our heroes, that's not them. They're going to try their best to find a way to escape. And so you do have our heroes go into this shop. Now, when they do, they are confronted by another version of Kitty Pryde. Now, our heroes are trying to find a map. which of course they do get a map from this other version of Kitty Pryde. The problem is that this map is just 9 circles. Now for our heroes, they're kind of like, well, this is not helpful at all. Do you have another map with more details on it? And of course, she hands Kitty Pryde a blank paper. Now you have Kitty ask this other version of herself, like, what makes me different from you? And she asks these questions right here. I became my own person. I never ever gave in to my bad side. I became the best I could. Now, after she had asked those questions, well, out of nowhere, you have this other Kitty Pryde just disappear. And for Kitty Pryde, she was able to figure out what makes her different from all her counterparts in this small area. She says, there was something in all my alternates, some aspect of someone else or of my horrible temper that I'm always trying to keep a hold of. And I suddenly thought, what would I be like if I did not try or if I ever gave in? And so once she realized how she's different from the others here, 3 circles on the map disappear, and of course made her other counterparts disappear as well. Now the question is for Colossus and also Nightcrawler, what makes them different from their counterparts? And of course you have Colossus counterparts begin to just rush into the room to fight against him. And so at first, it's Colossus kind of wondering, like, what makes him different from all these other counterparts of his? Now, at first, he realized they're all kind of like different authority figures in their own reality. But then you have Colossus realize what makes him different from all of them. He's kind of like, listen, I do know that not fighting, not lashing out, not giving up, it is simply finding a better way to live. Meaning that all these other counterparts have turned into something that Colossus is truthfully not. And so just like that, all his counterparts disappear. Now it's up to Nightcrawler. Oh, by the way, 3 more circles also disappeared as well. And so for Nightcrawler, he kind of realized what made him different from his counterparts. It's the whole idea that he's no longer happy. Ever since he became the team leader for Excalibur, unfortunately, the dude has not been happy like he used to be back in the day. And so right now for Nightcrawler, it's him realizing that he had lost his way of being that cheerful character. And so now it's him trying to get back on the right path. But once you have Nightcrawler realize what's wrong with him or what's different about him, you then have the last 3 circles appear. Now, Kitty Pryde realized all those circles basically meant the 9 circles of hell. Of course, she realized this is more like limbo. They were just tested by, and then they disappear. But we do learn who was testing them, and that would be, well, Belasco, the current ruler of, well, Limbo. And the thing is, he had kidnapped Morgali and also the soul sword that she had basically used back in Excalibur issue number 100. And so for Belasco, it's kind of like, this sword belongs to me. I am its original owner. But on top of that, he knows that sooner or later, when it comes to Excalibur trying to find Morgali, they may sooner or later find him, and he has to be ready. And so getting back over to the rest of Excalibur, they have been trying their best to locate their missing teammates who just appear, well, out of nowhere. But once they do appear out of nowhere, you didn't have Pete Wisdom wanting to talk to Kitty Pryde about something very important. And this is where he tells her that he basically loves her.